Sophie's going to give you a bit of a challenge, a provocation, which is that you should stop building audiences and start building belonging.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sophie. I'm a facilitator and a community strategist. I run a company called Clickworthy, and I work with both for-profit and nonprofit member-based organizations that are doing some pretty incredible work around the world. But a lot of them are struggling to keep members involved and excited about their mission. And that's some of the stuff that we tackle together. So, as part of that work, I spend a lot of time with these organizations, and I've noticed that they're great at building programs that disseminate information, that educate people, that teach things, but they struggle a little bit when it comes to creating motivation and encouraging people to want to step up and take an active role in what is being built. And for a lot of you in this world, you know that participation is actually really important for a lot of the work that you're doing. It's how you get to further what you can do. It's how you get that work to move forward. And what we know as community builders is that participation really predicts retention in the long run. People who are engaged and are participating with organizations are 2 to 3 times more likely to stay a longer amount of time. So it becomes really important to get that participation revved up and sustained over a long amount of time. But the problem is that participation doesn't just happen. A lot of people don't just land in an organization and say, how do I get involved? There's a little bit of a lag there where they're wondering, where can I contribute? And the best thing you can do is to actually start thinking about how do we help them feel like they belong here? Because that actually starts creating that sense of ownership that helps drive that participation over the long haul. As I was mentioning, when someone lands or becomes a member of an organization, that does not guarantee that they will participate in the long run. They're actually running a script in the back of their minds, whether they realize it or not. This is just how we're wired as humans. And it's really around, do I belong here? Is this actually a space for me? And at some point down the line, usually a little bit later, do I matter here? Does my presence make an actual difference? So, if the answer to all three of those questions are yeses, you're much more likely to have them stick around and be an active, valuable member. If they start skewing towards no, though, no's are on the list, the more likely they are to trail off and you lose their attention and it becomes a lot harder to re engage them. So, what I like to do when I'm working with these organizations is give them a really simple framework that at first glance sound really evident, but it's something that you can use every day from everything from an email all the way up to a larger program to help make sure that you're actually building in points of belonging and that you're increasing your chances of that member feeling good about staying a long time in your midst. So the framework goes like this. The first thing is, how can I help that person feel noticed? And that sometimes can be as simple as being the first person who sees them or greets them or makes them feel welcome in a room. So if it's in person, that could be as easy as saying, hey, I'm glad you're here, glad you can make it, and giving them some focused attention. In an online space, that could be making sure that you're greeting them as soon as they actually sign up with a warm message that doesn't feel like a canned version of a greeting. We don't want robots talking to people in this cases. I know a lot of people are using AI and there's great uses for it, but this is not the place where you want to do that. The second piece of it is, do they feel named personally? Are they receiving generic information or are you reaching out with things that are personalized to them, at minimum with their name, at maximum with personal context of their own situation? So, in a practical setting, that might look like taking a look at your campaigns, making sure that you're using their names as a greeting in interactions, making sure that you're not just talking about them when they're in the room, but you're talking about them when they're not there. If there's an opportunity that comes up with another funder or a member or whatever it is, that you're actually speaking their name and that they feel like You are taking interest in who they are as a person. And then our final step is really around, do they feel needed around here? Now, obviously, not everyone can jump in and do the same things. For some of you, you have very large memberships. So it's not about making sure that they have a huge role. It's what micro role can I give this person to feel like what they are doing with us really matters to the bigger picture. That could be as small as asking for their input in a survey and acknowledging that, if we layer the other two, acknowledging their contribution later and coming back to feedback that they've given. It's showing them that something they said at one point actually influenced what's moving forward. So as you can see, there's a lot of use cases here, and I could go through a lot more. But really, at the end of the day, it's about making sure that those members are not feeling like a passive person watching a movie and feeling like we're asking them to jump in and to really contribute to what we're doing here. My personal challenge as I'm leaving you today is really about using this simple framework in something this week. So pick a stakeholder group or an email that are going out and ask yourself, how am I asking people to show up in one of those three dimensions or all three of them at best? If you hit all three, you get a gold star for me, really, at the end of the day. So that is all that I had for you today. I hope this framework can serve you well, even though it seems like a really simple step. When you do it with intention and when you turn this into a practice, it can really build up over time and help you keep that engagement going with your members. Thank you.